Z-Grill's Pellet Grill burn off and walk around review. Today I've got their Flagship 700D4E. So grab a 6-pack and a lawn chair, Jeff. We're gonna amplify some backyard barbecue fun. Now most of you know I've got a big donger, but even mine sometimes doesn't measure up. But you know, it doesn't really matter because even if you don't measure up, you can get yourself an extension. I call this one Moby. Some people call this cover cock block. Get her in there a little bit, and don't worry, it'll draft out. For today's burn off, I'm using Mesquite Blend from Lumberjack Pellets. Get our lid open, and we'll just start pouring them in. This is a 20-pound hopper, so a 20-pound bag fits perfectly. We'll open up the lid and we're gonna get our racks and our deflector out. Get our drip pan out, and just remember that this little grooved end goes on the right-hand side of the pit. And we'll get our big solid heat deflector out. The inside of this pit has got a little bit of machining oil and a little bit of debris from the manufacturing process. So the burn off, well, that's what we're gonna be doing, burning this stuff off. Spray the inside with a little bit of Pam. We want to start building up a little bit of a seasoning on this. Shoot a little bit of it on the side walls, but get it coated up good. Now we'll go ahead and fire it up, turn the power on, and we're just gonna turn it to smoke right now. Now you're gonna wanna put your hand over the top of this fire pit and make sure that you feel some air coming out of there. Now you can check to make sure that the auger is spinning before you add any pellets. You can see that on this side that the auger is turning. Now you're also gonna check to make sure that the hot rod is starting to work. I'm skipping the shutdown process. I know this thing is working. I already have my pellets in. Now I'm just gonna turn it up to 250 degrees. And you can hold this feed button until you start hearing some of those pellets starting falling into that pot. You can also just go ahead and start it up by throwing a little handful of pellets in it. And now we've got a little bit of flame. Start spraying up your heat deflector a little bit, and you can see that this has some grooves where you gotta put this heat deflector in. So line it up and then just slide it over until she's locked in. Same thing with our drip pan, spray the backside down a little bit, I typically do. Just helps it from rusting. Then we get it in and we'll spray this down. I know a lot of guys like putting aluminum foil on there, but that just to me isn't the way you do it. Cheap little plastic putty knife, you'll scrape this right off. Get our racks in, and I love it that these are just the regular rods and they're porcelain coated. And we'll get the little top shelf in. There's some little line up holes that just hold it right in place. Close it up, and then we're just gonna let this run for about 30 minutes at 250 degrees. My 30-minute timer went off, let's turn it up. So we're gonna just turn it all the way up to high. For that first half an hour, the temperature fluctuation was anywhere from 240 up to 275 degrees, which isn't bad because I did take a handful of pellets and throw it in the fire pot so we could prime it just a little quicker. Let's check and see if we're starting to develop any patina on that drip pan. It's just barely starting right in the middle a little bit, so we gotta let this run a little longer. Pulls her back up, and I'm gonna set a timer for 1 hour, and then we'll check and see how it's starting to look inside. I never follow the manufacturer's burn-off procedure. I always like to start my temperatures a little lower and work my way up. I've never had the paint on a pellet grill start to peel when I've done it this way. My 1 hour timer went off. It's time to check and see if we developed any patina. Oh yeah, this is baked in good. We have a little bit lighter color on this side, but that's all right. It'll start developing as we use this pit more. It's good enough for government work. You shut her down. And that's real easy, just turn the dial to the shutdown cycle. While this pit's cooling down, let's do the walk around review on it. Well, the 700 has 700 square inches of cooking space. You've got over 500 square inches of cooking space on the bottom grate and about 200 on this top grate. There's only 4 inches in between, but that's still enough room to put a couple pork butts on the bottom and a rack of ribs on top. We have a 20-pound hopper, and this is what I have left out of that 20-pound bag of pellets. The 700D4E is an upgraded model from the original 700. The difference is this one has a PID controller, and PID stands for Proportional Integral Derivative. And it comes with 2 meat probes so you can monitor your food to get those exact temperatures that you're looking for. It also has an easy dump. That makes it a lot easier so you can change out your pellets if you're looking for a different flavor on your next cook. The hopper lid and the door are made out of stainless steel. I will say that this door, it's kind of thin, but it works. and at least it's stainless steel. The Z-grills just shut off and it only took about 10 minutes for that cool down. These grates are porcelain coated and that makes cleanup a lot easier. The bottom part of the chamber is double walled, and that'll help retain some of the heat that's inside that chamber. On this 700 D4E, it has a great storage cabinet. Open up the doors and you got plenty of room to store things. You can even throw your pellets in there. Now, if you're storing this pit outside, I wouldn't recommend that you put pellets underneath there because they will actually start to develop some moisture inside that bag. And your biggest enemy to a pellet grill is wet pellets. You have a probe porthole and it has a nice little rubber grommet in there, so when you stick your probe through, it sits in there nice and tight and smoke really isn't going to come back out of that hole. But this pit isn't actually airtight. There is going to be some smoke escaping around the outside edges of the door. My overall opinion on this pit is pretty positive. I was impressed at how good the controller actually ran. It didn't take long to get up to the temperatures that I set it at, and as far as what it was telling me, it was running pretty accurate. The build quality, it's not that bad. Other than the hopper lid in the door, it kind of reminds me of a Traeger. The Z-Grill 700 is a great entry-level pit. It's perfect for somebody that doesn't want to spend a bunch of money, but they do want to experiment with cooking on a pellet grill. And the size is perfect for a small family or somebody who likes to just entertain a little. Well, that's all I got. Roll the nation. Got to take the cock blocker off.